Episode 9. Dragon. A torch is thrown, revealing a monstrous creature with a human face. The party bursts into action. Fenrir ran into the room, throwing an axe. Elidas threw javelin after javelin into the beast. Malara darted behind the central pillar of the cavern. Her knives did little to the dragon as she passed. It skittered up the main pillar to look down on the party. The glowing boils that hung from its neck swelled and flames swirled within its flesh. Smoke rose from its jaws as it coughed up a vaguely feminine torso.
"You have disturbed my home, and wish to steal what is mine. Burn!"
Fire billowed out from jagged teeth, consuming the party. Katarina and Fenrir lunged to the edges of the billowing fire. Katarina still finds herself fighting pain on the ground along with Elidas. Malara stood, having taken the brunt of the flames, her clothes smoldering and blackened. She quickly drank from her vial, her flesh cooling and healing. Fenrir commanded Charlotte, shifting backwards to his downed allies as he did. The wolf, in a bounding pounce from behind, snapped one of the beast's hind legs. The dragon roared and awkwardly leapt away, slamming into a wall before descending onto Malara. Massive claws slammed into her back, leaving ragged, bloody scars. She is slammed to the ground, but not disabled. Fenrir fed Katarina her vial, and she crawled to Elidas and fed him his. Elidas leapt up and slid back. 2 more javelins sprout from the dragon's shoulders. The dragon growled, bounding at such speed as to leave Malara in the dust, as its head snapped out like a snake's and took a bite out of Elidas. His veins turned black as white froth poured from his mouth. He is returned to his knees with pain. Malara charged at the dragon's tail, managing to sever key nerves and tendons, leaving it limp. Charlotte follows suit, clamping down on its working leg. Katarina tries to throw soot in its eyes, only to throw it into the monster's mouth. Malara darted between the dragon's legs, as it fell off balance at her and Katarina. Flailing with its neck, it snapped long, venomous fangs at Katarina, only for her to shove her shield into the monster's mouth to stop its bite. Fenrir threw his axe and ran after it. The axe lodged itself into the beast's shoulder as it struggled to rise. Fenrir used the creature's own elbow spike to climb on top of it, allowing him to reach his axe and begin hacking at its neck. It bucked, trying to throw him off, but he slammed the axe back down. The blade and handle held him to the beast's neck. Blood gushed forth as Fenrir hacked again and again. With brutal determination, he slowly severed the head from the torso. The monster slumped and collapsed onto its burning sacks. Fire burst forth as the party leapt away. The dragon's own corpse took the brunt of the explosion. Katarina kneeled over Elidas, pulling the demon heart from her cloak, and pushed blood from it to him. She stitched his scars and pulled the poisoned blood free. Malara tied bandages tight across her back to quench the bleeding. The woman in red called across the cavern.
"Mind untying us?" "Of course we don't,"
Katarina replied. Fenrir stalked behind her.
"Are you sure? Things strange down here."
Katarina ignored his worries, taking a knife to the rope. As the women collapsed to the ground, groaning from stiff muscle, the Omish one stirred. Stretching, Angela gasped.
"You lot deserve some kind of reward. I'm Angela, and this is Rachel, but I don't know the Omish woman. Now I don't have anything to my name, and I've been trying to get out of the business. But seeing how I owe you all my life, rewards can be discussed later. I'm Katarina. This is Fenrir, and those two are Malara and Elidas,"
Katarina interrupted.
Are you sure?
Can you turn into bird? Fenrir asked the Omish woman. She looked bluntly at him.
You appear to be suffering from blood loss,
she said, before introducing herself as Medea. Then she grabbed the fur around the top of his tunic and pulled his ear to her lips with surprising strength.
That's not something you say in front of the people of Tandem. Either way, I can't without feathers, and I can do something much more interesting than that.
Melara pulled the blood from the dragon into her vial and drank as Elidas took a fang as a trophy. Melara collected the poisons within the beast's head for her experiments, and Fenrir took some of its bone to make into armor. Rachel watched them curiously as they worked. Katerina, to keep an eye on the women, took the three to the last room. The Shambler corpses were still there, untapped of blood. The women grumbled. Medea, though, knelt and pulled blood from a corpse, healing herself with a poorly disguised use of blood magic. Stone ground on stone at the far end of the dark hall, and twin torches of white flame illuminated stairs that lead further down the path. They could clamber over a nest of sticks and bone and fur to continue. Fenrir offered the women blades. Rachel held the blade like it would cut her if she relaxed, and Angela laughed, assuming several poses that left her with no guard. Medea shrugged.
Those are of no use to me.
Up the pillar, in the shadows of the ceiling, the party finds a hole leading up. The pillar itself had many convenient handholds. Having already found the women who went missing from the church, and not finding his sister among them, Fenrir went up first. Angela quickly followed. The red-dressed woman teased Elidas as he kept his eyes on his handholds. Only later did he realize that he had a kilt on. He glanced down to see Rachel looking shyly away and Medea looking up at him without shame. The rest file in one at a time, leaving Medea for last. After returning to the surface, Medea is reunited with her Thuluzu sisters, and Rachel to her parents. Fenrir managed to sell the demon cat parts to the Thuluzu. Elidas snuck around as twilight dimmed to darkness. He found an oddly placed guard. The man stood over a small dock into the castle moat in the richer part of the city. Finding it strange, Fenrir asked Angela about the dock, and she claimed that across the moat is a secret passage into the castle, though it had been dark and the wall was far from where she had been standing, so she didn't know how to open it. Katerina sat amongst the 4 Thuluzu women in their room.
How is it done? You're shape-changing,
Katerina asked eagerly.
That is a secret of our people,
Aeth said calmly.
Even with our great debt to you, it is something we cannot share.
Katerina considered for a long moment before asking more questions about witchcraft. The Thuluzu, too, seemed surprised by her facing a demonic reflection of herself, rather than having the dream, though they do explain that the dream is a method that grants knowledge and control over the powers. To have it, one must first be pregnant. That night, wind howled and snow flurried. Cold seeped through cracks and under blankets. Heavy boots sloshed through the fresh snow. Slow, deliberate steps brought them toward the ones that had to be reclaimed by death. They hid in a grand city made by men. The right weaver could feel their wrongness. She felt her own wrongness. It all sickened her. More and more of her people gathered. All leaked wrongness. All would be returned to death. But as her people gathered slowly, they would have to wait for dawn. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit that cursed little bell. And I hope to see you around my campfire again.